Have you ever met someone who changed your life with a deal that was never supposed to become real? Before we begin this unforgettable story, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Stories like this remind us that sometimes the greatest love arrives when we're looking for something completely different. Now imagine this. A lonely single father struggling to raise his little daughter. A successful woman carrying scars no one could see. And a simple offer. $100. Just $100 to pretend to be her husband. Neither of them expected that fake smiles would become real feelings. Neither of them expected that a temporary arrangement would heal broken hearts. And neither of them knew that the greatest challenge was still waiting ahead. This is the story of Emma and Daniel. And by the end, you'll understand why love often arrives disguised as coincidence. The rain fell steadily over the city as Daniel Carter hurried across the parking lot with one hand holding an umbrella and the other carrying grocery bags. Life had become a balancing act. Every single day. Every single hour. Every single minute. At 34 years old, Daniel's world revolved around one person. His 6-year-old daughter, Lily. The little girl sat waiting inside his aging sedan, drawing pictures on a notepad while humming softly to herself. Daniel opened the car door. "Sorry, sweetheart." Lily smiled immediately. "It's okay, Daddy." That smile. That precious smile was the reason he kept going when life became overwhelming. 3 years earlier, Daniel had lost his wife, Sarah, after a sudden illness no one saw coming. One moment they were planning family vacations. The next moment he was standing beside a hospital bed saying goodbye. Nothing had prepared him for becoming both mother and father overnight. Nothing had prepared him for the loneliness. Nothing had prepared him for the guilt. Every time Lily cried for her mother. Every time she asked questions he couldn't answer. Every time she stared at old family photographs. A small piece of his heart broke all over again. Yet he never complained. Because Lily needed him. And that mattered more than anything else. They returned to their modest apartment on the edge of town. The building wasn't impressive. The furniture wasn't expensive. The walls needed paint. But it was home. Lily helped put away groceries while Daniel started dinner. "Did you have fun at school today?" he asked. Lily nodded. "We drew family pictures." Daniel smiled. "That sounds nice." The little girl became quiet. Very quiet. Then she looked down at her shoes. Most kids drew a mommy and daddy. Daniel stopped stirring the soup. Pain settled heavily in his chest. Lily continued softly. "I drew mommy from memory." Daniel knelt beside her. His eyes filled with emotion. "I'm proud of you. Do you think mommy can see my drawings?" The question nearly shattered him. But he forced a smile. "I think she sees everything beautiful you do." Lily wrapped her arms around him. And for a few seconds neither of them spoke. Because some wounds never completely heal. Across town, another lonely heart sat inside a luxury apartment overlooking the city skyline. Emma Harrison stared through floor-to-ceiling windows while holding a cup of untouched coffee. From the outside, she had everything. At 32 years old, she was successful. Independent. Respected. She owned her own marketing company. Drove expensive cars. Lived in a beautiful apartment. People envied her life. What they didn't know was how empty that life felt. Success couldn't hug you when you were lonely. Money couldn't comfort you during sleepless nights. Achievements couldn't replace genuine love. Emma understood that better than anyone. Especially after her parents began pressuring her about marriage. Every family gathering felt the same. The same questions. The same comments. The same disappointment. "When are you settling down? Have you met anyone yet?" You're not getting younger." The words followed her everywhere. At first she ignored them. Then she tolerated them. Eventually she dreaded family events altogether. A week later, her mother called. "Emma, don't forget your grandmother's 80th birthday party next month." Emma rubbed her forehead. "I remember. Everyone will be there." That sentence alone made her nervous. Then came the question she expected. "Will you finally bring someone?" Emma sighed. "Mom. Your grandmother worries about you." "I'm fine. Being alone isn't the same as being fine." The conversation continued exactly as expected. When it ended, Emma sat silently for several minutes. Then an unusual idea entered her mind. A ridiculous idea. An impossible idea. At least that's what she thought initially. What if she didn't attend alone? What if she brought someone? Not a boyfriend. Not a fiancé. Just someone willing to pretend. Someone who could help her survive one family gathering. The idea sounded absurd. Yet the more she considered it, the more reasonable it seemed. After all, it was only one evening. One harmless arrangement. No emotions. No complications. No expectations. Just a temporary solution. She had no idea how dramatically that decision would change her future. 3 days later, Emma visited a small cafe near her office. The place was crowded. Business professionals filled most tables. Students occupied the corners. And near the window sat Daniel. He was helping Lily with homework while drinking coffee. Emma noticed them immediately. Not because they stood out, but because of how they interacted. The affection between father and daughter felt genuine. Natural. Warm. Daniel listened carefully whenever Lily spoke. Lily laughed constantly. They seemed happy despite obvious financial struggles. Emma found herself watching them. Then she noticed Lily accidentally knock over a juice cup. The liquid spread across the table. Daniel didn't get angry. Didn't raise his voice. Didn't show frustration. Instead he grabbed napkins and smiled. "Team cleanup mission?" Lily giggled. Team cleanup mission. Together they cleaned the mess. Emma couldn't explain why the moment affected her. Perhaps because kindness had become rare. Perhaps because patience had become uncommon. Or perhaps because Daniel reminded her that good people still existed. As fate would have it, another accident occurred moments later. Emma dropped her wallet while leaving. Cards scattered across the floor. Before she could react, Daniel was helping gather everything. "Here you go." She accepted the wallet. "Thank you." "No problem." Their eyes met briefly. Then Lily smiled brightly. "Hi." Emma smiled back. "Hello." Something about the little girl's friendliness made Emma pause. She looked at Daniel. Then at Lily. Then back again. And suddenly an impossible idea became a possibility. The following week, Emma returned to the same cafe. And the week after that. Eventually she learned Daniel visited every Thursday afternoon after picking Lily up from school. One Thursday she finally gathered enough courage. Approaching their table felt surprisingly nerve-wracking. Daniel looked up. Recognition crossed his face. The wallet incident. Emma laughed. Exactly. Lily waved enthusiastically. Emma introduced herself. Daniel did the same. Conversation started awkwardly. Then gradually became easier. Natural. Comfortable. By the end of 30 minutes, Emma had learned more about Daniel than she expected. He worked as a maintenance supervisor. Loved reading mystery novels. Spent most weekends with Lily. And hadn't dated anyone seriously since losing his wife. Emma felt genuine sympathy. Not pity. Respect. Daniel carried grief with quiet strength. When Lily left briefly for the restroom, Emma made a decision. A reckless decision. Possibly the craziest decision of her life. I have an unusual question. Daniel raised an eyebrow. That sounds dangerous. She laughed nervously. Maybe. Then she took a deep breath. My grandmother's birthday party is next month. Okay. My family thinks I should be married. Daniel looked confused. Okay. I was wondering if you would pretend to be my husband for one evening. Silence. Complete silence. Daniel blinked. Then blinked again. Surely he misheard. I'm sorry, what? Emma's face turned red. I know it sounds ridiculous. Ridiculous is one word. She quickly continued. I'll pay you $100. Now Daniel was certain he hadn't imagined it. $100. To pretend to be her husband. For one evening. The situation was so absurd he almost laughed. Instead he stared at her, trying to determine whether this was some elaborate joke. It wasn't. Emma looked completely serious. And suddenly Daniel realized something. Behind her confidence. Behind her success. Behind her composed appearance. She seemed lonely. Very lonely. The same loneliness he carried. The same loneliness that followed him home every night. Neither of them knew it yet. But this strange proposal was about to begin a journey that would transform their lives forever. And the first challenge was convincing themselves that their arrangement would remain fake. Because sometimes the heart refuses to follow the rules. And sometimes the most dangerous thing in the world is pretending to love someone, when you're already starting to care. To be continued.